Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of NK Real Talks. I'm here with George from Dominion Lending Center Edge Financials.
You got it.
And what we're going to talk about is some of the incentives that's available to first-time
First-time
homebuyers,
buyers,
because
yeah.
especially right now with the prices being high, rates being high, it's tough to get out there and buy something in Toronto.
They need all the help they can get,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's kind of exciting in the sense that at least there are programs available to them outside of mom and dad.
Yeah.
Right? The most recent one is the First Home Savings Account, which launched April 1st was the official launch date.
Really?
Yeah, not all financial institutions came on board at that point, but they are coming on board now, which is great. So whether you bank at TD, Royal Bank, whoever you bank, you can open up one of these accounts.
So what is
right?
it, like tax-free saving?
It's similar to a tax-free savings account, right? But the way this one works, it's catered to the first-time home buyer,
Right.
Right. The maximum plan limit is $40,000. So the maximum you can contribute over the life of the plan is $40,000, but it's $8,000 a year. But the beauty of it is that similar to your RSP home buyers plan, your contribution is tax deductible. Right, so you contribute into your TFSA, it's not tax deductible. You put into your investment account, it's not tax deductible. So you get this deduction, right, which will be above and beyond your RSP home buyers plan.
Right. Okay.
So in your RSP home buyers plan, you got a maximum of $35,000 that you can withdraw.
Yeah.
Right. Plus you get $40,000 from the first home savings account. All of a sudden now you got $75,000 per person as a contribution, as opposed to $35,000. So, good thing is, mom and dad can give you the money to contribute to this, or a grandparent can give you the money to contribute to this.
Okay.
You'll get the deduction, they won't.
Oh, interesting.
But at least they can help you with the
Right.
down payment, get that contribution, right? And the advantage over the RSP home buyers plan is that you open up the account today, put the money in today, you can take it out tomorrow.
Interesting.
Right, so there's no minimum 90-day period like you have with the home buyers plan.
Got it.
Right, so at least this way, even if you're looking to close anytime soon or buy, open up an account today, put that money in, right? Get your contribution receipt for 2023. At least you'll get that tax deduction for this year, and you'll still be able to use it as your down payment or your closing costs for a purchase.
So each year is 8,000. So you got to open up this year. This is the first
Open
year.
it up this
and
year.
then it's going to take 5 years to save up to 40,000.
If you're putting in $8,000 a year, but the reality is that if you open up the account today and put in $100, let's say, you can carry forward that room to the
Next
following
year.
year.
Okay, good.
So
Good.
you have that carry forward contribution,
Got it.
similar to an RSP.
Okay.
Right. So you have that benefit of taking advantage of it today. So all the first-time home buyers that are out there, doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you haven't owned a home for 5 years, right? Open up the account, put something in there just to activate the account. If you can do the 8,000, great. If not,
Yeah, key being you haven't owned the home. But if,
You haven't
but if you
owned a
bought
home.
something and you've had it for 7 years, you can't.
no,
You got to
no,
sell that.
you're out of luck on that one, right? So I think it's important that every first-time buyer opens it up immediately.
That's interesting.
And you got 15 years to use that money.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean like, just because you open it up, it's got to be used really quick, right?
Right.
So, people, university graduates, for instance, my daughter said, open up an account, right? Start putting money into it, right? Get your grandparents to put money into it.
So you said that is 40,000, and then RSP.
RSPs is 35. The home
35.
buyer plan is 35,000, so you could have a maximum
75,000,
of 75,000.
Which, again, if you're going based on a rate of, what is it right now? Down payment 5% up to $500,000, and then 10%.
Anything above 500,000 up to
So that gives you
999,000.
about like 800 to 900,000.
Well, you
purchase
normally
price
need like
based on-
70,000 as a down payment when you hit $1 million, basically,
okay,
right?
70. So that's good. That's
you
really
could-
good.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden, have a little bit more money, could put you over the $1 million, right? Depending on down payment. So I think it's a great strategy above and beyond all the other ones. So we got the home buyers plan, which has been the most common and most traditional. We have the first time home buyer initiative, where the government will lend you some money.
Yeah.
They'll lend you up to 5% on a resale home, 10% on a pre-construction home. Keeping in mind, the government now is a partner with you. They will take a second charge on your property. So it's
Right.
kind of like a private second loan. They say there's no interest, so yeah, you don't have to service it, but they will participate.
Well, technically, the interest is going to be much higher at the rates.
Well,
Real estate is growing.
yeah, exactly. So they'll participate in the growth.
Yeah.
Right. Now they'll participate on the downside, but again, everything's been capped now under the new program. Not the most popular, especially for GTA, because the dollar amounts just don't really work that well.
Do you
in
know
the
anyone that has used it? Because I personally don't know. I know a lot of people ask me, but no one could even use it.
I was just dealing with a client who was told they could use it, and then when they went to put in the offer, realized they didn't qualify, right? And I have one lady who's looking to buy, but up in Barrie. So up in Barrie, it worked, right?
Yeah.
But she hasn't bought yet.
Well, I mean, like I think
In the GTA, forget it. It's not the best plan.
funny that you bring Barrie up because I feel like Barrie is one of the areas right now that is there's tons of opportunities for people to buy detached. Good
To buy detached, yeah.
great properties. Like I mean, we bought a client a detached for 650, 3-bedroom renovated.
Perfect price point.
Yeah,
right?
and
Especially for first-time buyers.
oh my god,
right?
yeah. That's and these properties. I mean, once they pick up, like they were hovering around 900.
Right.
So
So there, yeah. If you get it now, and
Yeah.
at that point, I think a lot of people can, if you
Yeah.
can find the properties.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know what the inventory is like out in Barrie, but
yeah, it's well, it's not fun. It's there's a shortage everywhere, but the problem right now is mortgage, right? Like
Right.
the rates are
it's getting higher, right? The rates, fixed rates went up again last night.
right.
Right,
What are we
so-
hovering at around?
Depends. Like we're definitely we hit 6% on
Yeah.
the 5-year.
Yeah.
Right, 5.99.
Yeah.
The shorter term, the 1-year rate is over 7%.
Really?
2%. 2-year rate is just under 7. Right. So
That is
the
nuts.
sweet spot right now seems to be like the 4-year rate at 6.19. It seems like to be a bargain, right? 3 years probably around 6.49. So
Wow.
we're like, and I don't know where this comes to an end, right? But funny enough, people are still looking to buy even
Yeah.
with these rates because they still see that there's value in the properties, right?
And
there's discounts still,
Yeah.
right?
First, that's exactly the point because when you go and compare February of 2022 when the market was at its peak, you're getting a massive discount. You're carrying less of a mortgage. Yeah, like you're paying more interest, but how long do you think that this crazy high rates are going to stay? Like it's not going to be like
At some point, the rates
They
will
have
come
to,
back
yeah.
down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When and how much, that's the unknown at this
no one
point.
knows, yeah.
But the reality is, so let's say in the next 2 years,
Yeah.
logically speaking, you would think, okay, inflation's under control, supply chain issues have been sorted out.
Yeah.
We'd like to think, and then the rates will start kind of normalizing. Now,
Yeah.
we're not going back to the 1.5%, 2%.
well, that will never come
That'll
back.
probably
yeah.
never happen again, right?
I think
never,
if
never
we're-
say never, but
Well, you God knows if there's another pandemic, but right now I think like this is the conversation I have with most people that they're like, oh, it's gonna come down, but everyone's mentality is to the recent rates of let's say 1.5%, 2%.
Yeah.
Like no. The normal would be if everything is fine and dandy would be around 3.5%, 4%. That's what it was pre-COVID anyways.
That's a more normal. So
Yeah.
anywhere say from 3.5 to 4.5
Yeah.
is where the rates will
Yeah.
eventually settle, right?
Yeah.
So if you say, okay, you know what, I'm going to ride it out for that point, lock in the value today. So the
Yeah.
houses are on sale, lock in that value, right? And date the rate. The rates are going to come and go,
Yeah.
right? So don't worry about it. If you want short-term rates, great, get a 2 or 3 year, even though they're higher, but you're buying yourself some time and flexibility so that when the rates do somewhat normalize, right, things, the carrying costs become a bit more under control.
And it also gives you an option to, if you decide to sell after 2 years, you have the option
You
to
have
do
the
it
option.
at less of a like there's no penalty after that if the term is done. In terms of first-time homebuyers that are buying, let's say with 10%, so
Yeah.
you got to be CMHC approved.
Right.
The rates for them are a little bit lower.
Not much.
No,
They're-
really?
Those are the rates. So like a 5-year fixed rate on a high ratio deal right now, 5.59.
Oh, wow.
On a 5-year.
Yeah.
So those have come up too, right?
Okay.
Like we were at 5.19 not that long ago. Bond yields have been going up, so now the lenders are increasing their rates, right?
Yeah, interesting. So these are some of the items you can take advantage of if you're a first-time homeowner, especially in Toronto, that is tough to get into the market to begin with. Save it tax-free and then get a mortgage. And also look at the alternative locations. Like the problem is I feel like everyone's looking to be in downtown Toronto
Right.
or be in Toronto. Well, you can't find anything. Or even if you can, then you're looking at, let's say, 1-bedroom condo for like 600,000, 650, and people get discouraged. But like, first of all, if you need to be downtown, that's what it is.
Right.
Second, look outside Barrie, Ajax,
Kitchener.
I mean, like Hamilton.
Yeah.
There's
There's opportunities
Yeah,
there.
there are
Especially because we're all working from home for the most part, right?
Yeah.
The commute isn't as important as it used to be,
Yeah.
right? So I think those opportunities are there. I was just actually talking to a client today, looking at a property in Kitchener,
Yeah.
right? Listed at $775, but has a separate basement, so there's rental income
Yeah.
potential. There's a garage in the back that he goes, I can convert this to another apartment. So all of a sudden he goes,
Garden
I got
suite.
like
Yeah.
two additional incomes.
Yeah.
right? So he goes, it makes sense. He works from home, his wife works from home, right? Why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, I know of a property that the owner lives there. The basement, they could rent it out because it's got a
Yeah.
3-bedroom basement. They're not doing that, but they have a 1-bedroom with a living room, kitchen. They're Airbnb, and it's up in York region. And there is a 2-bedroom legal suite above the garage.
Wow.
Literally, they're making about $4,000 a month. I mean,
I
like
think a
that's,
lot more people are thinking that way
Yeah.
because it also helps you qualify.
Yeah.
Right? You can use that rental income, not all of it, but you can use depending on the lender.
but again, it helps you with the cash flow, especially in a situation like
That's
this.
the most important
Yeah.
is the cash flow, right?
Yeah.
Because the carrying costs obviously are higher,
Yeah.
but if you have that additional rental income, it makes sense.
Well, here's a house hacking tip. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anything else as a first-time home buyer people can take advantage of?
There's a tax credit for first-time home buyers, but that's when you file your tax. So if you buy a house this year,
Right.
when you do your taxes, you get a tax credit up to $3,500 now. So again,
Not
every
bad.
little bit helps.
Well, I mean, like you also get the land transfer tax.
You get the land transfer tax rebate,
Rebate,
right?
yeah.
So depending if you're buying in Toronto, obviously in Toronto, in the 416, we got
Yeah.
two taxes. We've got the Toronto land transfer tax as well as the provincial land transfer tax. So
Yeah.
first-time buyers can get up to $8,800
Yeah.
dollars,
Yeah.
or $8,400.
8450. Yeah.
As a rebate.
Yeah.
So obviously that helps. But again, if you go outside of the 416, there's only one land transfer tax. So again, from a closing cost perspective and what you need for overall
Right.
funds to buy a property, it's a little bit lower.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking to calculate the land transfer tax, we got a land transfer tax calculator on our website, nimakadam.com. You go there, tools, and you can look it up. And there's a little function there. If you're a first-time homeowner, you click it, and you see exactly how much the rebate is. That's
great.
So that is a rebate to also consider. Anything else they can take advantage
Listen,
of?
I think at the end of the day, the most important for first-time buyers especially is sit down with a mortgage professional, figure out your numbers, see what you're comfortable with, right? See what that looks like from a budget perspective, right? Because I think this is the part where people just get overwhelmed, right? Especially people that have been in variable rates and their payments have been going up. Now they're at that point. I've only had one who had to sell, fortunately, but it is affecting people's lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
Or their savings plan. So get a good grip on what those numbers look like for you on a monthly basis and live within a reasonable dollar amount. And if it doesn't work right now, keep saving and wait till the rates drop a little bit, perhaps. But rates drop, prices are going to start going up, right? So
that's always the case.
be mindful of all these variables that are impacting your
Yeah.
decision today as a potential buyer.
What do you think of like people actually buying a property? Let's say if they need to be in Toronto, they can't afford it. They buy something in suburbs, rent that out. At least you own the property, and then rent.
Listen, at the end of the day, if it's going to be a rental property, you have to put down 20%,
20%, yeah.
right? So if you have that 20%, you can't afford it though.
Right.
Put a renter in there, and then when your financial circumstances make it affordable and
Yeah.
viable, then yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So at least you're building up net worth, right? Some
Exactly.
equity, and at the end of the day, you've locked in that value that we talked
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
So it makes total sense.
Yeah. So I think these are some of the good points to keep in mind, especially if you're buying your first home. If anyone needs to reach out to George, we're gonna have his contact information down below. Be sure that should be your first step.
It's most important.
Yeah.
It really
before like we don't let our clients look at homes or we don't do showing unless the client has talked to a mortgage broker. They know exactly how much they get their pre-approved for and what their monthly payment is because you got to be comfortable with that.
And if you don't do that, then you're just spinning your wheels,
Yeah.
right? So it's a must that you get your numbers nailed down, right down to the dollar and cents, so that you know exactly what you're going to face month in, month out. Especially with the rates where they are right now, getting an understanding of what that really looks like, right?
Yeah.
And I think more people have become mindful of that, more so now than ever before, because before, like during COVID, right, people were buying houses just because the whole FOMO thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fear of missing out. They weren't really mindful of carrying costs because the rates were lower.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden, people are going to start dealing with these 6.5% rates coming out of new mortgages, right? It wasn't something that they took to consideration when they first bought.
Perfect,
Now
yeah.
people are saying, okay, how are we going to afford this? So
Yeah.
it's important that you're comfortable with your decision today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, George, thank you for joining us.
pleasure. Thank you for
We're
having
going to
me.
have George's contact information below. And if you guys found this episode useful, make sure to check out our last episode with Nick Rizzuto about buying pre-construction, because that's another way to get into the market. and that could help a lot of people with putting down the deposit and having some time before actually closing on one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Take care.